Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're doing something a little different. We are opening up a rather fascinating spiritual case file to investigate a silent, completely unseen crime that is happening right now in living rooms all around the world. We're going to treat this exactly like what it is, a forensic step-by-step investigation into the captured human mind.
So, let me ask you this right out of the gate. Are you truly in control of your own mind, or are you being possessed from a distance? It's the hook for our entire investigation today. You see, the modern mind has basically been spiritually anesthetized. We sit for hours in front of screens, letting media shape our thoughts, our feelings, entirely unaware of the very real spiritual danger unfolding behind the scenes.
Let's dive right into the biblical case file and introduce our primary suspect. 1 Peter 5:8 gives us a direct command. Be alert, be on watch. Your enemy, the devil, roams around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. This establishes right from the start that we aren't just looking at an accidental drift into laziness. No, this is a premeditated, highly coordinated spiritual attack. We have a suspect, and that suspect is on the hunt.
So who is the target? Well, the victim profile is pretty clear. It's the modern mind. A mind that's spiritually asleep and incredibly vulnerable to the enemy's subtle tactics. In our digital age, we're just absolutely bombarded by this non-stop stream of sensory stimulation, and that leaves us wide open to this devour. Let's take a look at the actual scene of the crime. On one side, you have a mind that absolutely craves high-stakes sensory stimulation. We're talking to sizzling, the fast cuts, the explosions of modern media. But because of this intense obsession, on the other side, the victim finds the peace of a church service, or really any of the things of God, to be entirely boring. It's a total rewiring of our internal desires.
Section 1. Weaponized words. Decrypting the forensic evidence.
We're going to start by interrogating a specific piece of evidence, an ancient Greek word, pharmakeia. It's actually where we get our modern word pharmacy. Now, traditionally, it means the practice of making medication, or spell-giving potions. But as we dig into this investigation, we uncover a much broader spiritual definition. It applies to anything that meditates the mind so that it will not follow the will of God. That biblical warning against sorcery, it extends to any modern substance. And yes, that includes the media and music we constantly consume that subtly alters our mind's allegiance.
Which brings us to a fascinating piece of physical evidence, the word entertainment itself. Have you ever actually broken down its root meaning? It's pretty sinister. Enter means to come in. Entain means to hold or to possess, meaning to come in and hold in a state of possession. When you sit down on your couch to be entertained, you are quite literally inviting an occupying force to come in and take possession of your mind.
Now, how exactly is this possession being delivered? Well, think about the word media. It is simply the plural of medium, a form used to communicate between spirits and humanity. Think back to the serpent in the Garden of Eden. God strictly condemns mediums who channel the dead, which reveals modern media as a very real potential spiritual conduit being used by the enemy.
Section 2. The Hollywood Magic Wand. Here is a seriously fascinating historical clue. Did you know the hollyberry tree was actually one of 9 sacred trees used by witches in ancient times? They would specifically take the wood from this holly tree to craft magic wands, and those wands were designed to put spells of sleep upon people. Even in our modern pop culture today, Harry Potter's wand was made of this exact same holly tree.
Which naturally leads us to a pretty chilling rhetorical question. Could Hollywood literally be the mechanism, the modern-day magic wand used to put people into a spiritual sleep? It draws a direct line from the ancient witchcraft of the holly tree right to our modern entertainment capital.
Section 3. The suspect's modus operandi. Controlling the channels.
Let's decrypt the everyday vocabulary we use in our living rooms every single night. When you want to see something else on TV, you turn the channel. Yet, biblical law expressly condemns channeling. And what's the tool you use to do it? The remote, a word that literally means to control from a distance, far away.
So, if we connect the forensic dots here, is it possible that Satan is controlling us from a distance through mediums? It really forces us to stop and ask if that little remote control resting in your hand is actually an instrument of distant spiritual manipulation.
But what's the ultimate goal of all this control? The motive actually lies in the word emotion.
It means to move or to be emotionally stirred. The true underlying motive behind movies is to physically and spiritually move us, specifically to move us away from the gospel. It teaches us to live our lives based on our feelings and the emotional stirring of the screen, rather than standing firm on what the Bible actually says.
Let's methodically track the timeline of this crime, basically a psychological chain reaction. Step 1, you watch action, drama, or romance on screen. Step 2, you experience a subconscious desire to reduplicate what you just saw in real life. Step 3, you become an active participant in the rehearsal of Satan's character. And finally, pointing back to Romans chapter 1, the ultimate goal is achieved, finding actual pleasure in watching those who break the commandments of God.
And here is the damning outcome of this whole operation. Just look at the sheer success of the attack. A person can sit for 5 hours straight being entertained, remember, held in possession, without a single complaint. But that very same person will complain that a simple 1-hour church service is way too long because it lacks that sizzling sensory stimulation. The enemy has completely, successfully rewired our attention spans.
Section 4. Closing the case. The conclusive fact. All right, here is the conclusive, undeniable biblical fact that officially solves this case for us, drawn straight from 2 Corinthians 3:18. By beholding, we become changed. This is the absolute law of beholding. Whatever we fix our eyes on, whatever we spend hours upon hours watching and absorbing, we inevitably become. We are changed into the image of exactly what we behold.
So now that we know the crime, what's our defense? Your ultimate survival tactic is straight out of Proverbs 4:23. Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. You absolutely must protect your mind by rigorously filtering your media consumption. It is a vital call to quiet the noise of the world, regain your spiritual focus, and break free from the sorcery of constant, relentless sensory stimulation. Which leaves us with one final, absolutely critical thought to close this case file, based on all the evidence we've uncovered today. If entertainment truly means to possess, and the word remote means from a distance, who is really holding the remote control to your mind? I hope this explainer has given you the structured clarity you need to reevaluate the screens in your life. Thank you so much for learning with me today.